and I never did that again.
It was the expression I'm thinking of is hoisted by your own petard.
Oh yeah.
Which is me. Which I thought. So I thought a petard was like, oh, you hoisted by your own petard is like you wedgied yourself. That was how I always expected that expression. But a petard, it means like you set up a bomb and it blew up on yourself.
Yeah, it's like a grenade.
Yeah, but like a petard, I was like, oh, I gave myself a wedgie. Like that's what I expected it to mean.
Dramatically different.
Yeah.
One of my favorite podcasts is My Dad Wrote a Porno.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most endearing things that this guy does when he writes his erotica is he essentially tries to like coin idioms or or just is doing it wrong or is maybe drunk when he's writing. So because he'll just be like heaven on a hat stand. Which sounds like a thing that people might say, but is not.
It has like the energy of an expression, but none of the goodness of it.
Yeah, or any of the meaning.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing a Lothario would say in the 1920s while like stirring opium into black coffee.
Yeah.
Mine was a plate of misplaced marbles.
Anyway, speaking of misplaced marbles, hello everybody. We are Knights of Prospect. We are live. You know what? I'm talking now. I'm talking us in. That's it. It's happening. It's happening. I'm doing it.
It's happening.
Hello everyone. Welcome to episode 57 of Knights of Prospect. We are well over the year mark. We are engaged in grand adventure. Let me tell you a little bit about the story. So Knights of Prospect is a show that follows a group called the Knights of Prospect, an order of benevolent knights that has existed for centuries. You are looking at 3 of those knights. A group of them are very far from the Riverlands, which they are sworn to protect. They're in the grand, expansive Orcish territories far to the south, chasing the mythical location of a long-lost elven city called Alveolora. So that's the story. That's all you need to know about what the Knights of Prospect are and what they're doing. Soon you will meet 3 of these knights because they are right here. Before we get to them, let me tell you a little bit about the rules of the game. This is a tabletop role-playing game, meaning every so often I'm going to ask the players to roll some dice. When I do, they're going to roll 2 6-sided dice, unless they're doing damage. Nice. That's another story. 2 6-sided dice, and we are going to figure out what the results are based on that. On a 10 or higher, they get what they want. On a 7 to 9, they get a little of what they want or have to make a difficult choice. On a 6 or less, they do not get what they want. But no matter how the dice roll, something happens, and it's up to us to interpret what that something is. So that is what you need. So now you know about the world, the Riverlands, the search for Alveolora being far from home. You know all of that. You know about how the dice work. As I mentioned, this is episode 57. Do you want to start from the beginning? Fantastic. The best way to do that would be to go to wherever you get your podcasts and look up Knights of Prospect. We are a podcast with wonderful music and nice sound editing, and it's very, very fun to listen to or listen to again. Or you can, if you like seeing our smiling faces, you can go to YouTube and look up Knights of Prospect, and we are right there as well. So that's who we are. That's where we've been. That's how the dice work. Let's meet our players. Ryan, why don't you talk about who you play?
Hey, I'm Ryan. I play Kwari Chitbeard, better known as Gregory, Dwarven, former legionary, current ex-legionary. Small ball of hate, heavily armored, can take a lot of punishment, and likes to return the favor.
Yeah.
A grizzled military vet in a party of not 1 but 2 children and 2 bards. So how do you think he feels about that?
Rob, welcome as always to the party.
Hi, my name is Rob Mulligan. I play a character named Ronaldo Francis Mackay IV. He is one of said bards that was previously mentioned, as well as a foppish nobleman who is trying to do the right thing in the world, but he is still a foppish nobleman. And he's out here doing the adventure thing. He's also recently gotten some like fiery magic, which can manipulate minds. That's been a lot of fun. But he otherwise pretty bog standard bard. Very funny, very weird, very flamboyant. Whitney, tell us about your character.
Hi, everybody. I'm Whitney. I play Hazel Pip. She is a halfling mountain druid. So just a little ball of love to counteract Gregory's little ball of hate. That's exactly what it is. So being a druid, she's super in tune with nature. She can shapeshift into animals and plants and rocks, things like that. She's good friends with all the elements. They help her out a lot. And she's just figuring out how to be down from the mountain and do a lot more traveling than she used to. I'm super excited to play. I just got off a boat. I'm ready to get back on one. So let's do it.
Yeah. You know what? That is as good a segue as possible. So
boat.
Yeah,
we're on a
you're
boat.
on a boat.
We're on
Let's
a boat.
get back into world, everybody, and I will tell you all about it. So, here we go. What we are dealing with here is all of the knights of Prospect that are in the great Orcish nations are sailing up a river on this kind of large stolen woven boat. It's like a 50-foot long woven basket of a boat made from kind of the local tall razor sharp grass that is remarkably waterproof. And so you're sailing up there, and the trip has been, I would not say safer, but definitely calmer. Your alternative to sailing up the river on this boat would be to cross the Keening Fields, which is essentially a country down here, over land, which would mean that at some point hundreds of orcs would find you, and then they would tell thousands of orcs, and eventually they would surround and kill all of you. So the fact that you're sailing upriver on a boat is the much safer, the much calmer option anyway. You pass orcish villages in these days since you got this boat. You try to cover yourselves up as best you can in cloaks and scavenged armor. Dolly, the giant siege golem, hides under the boat most of the time. So, you know, Dolly has spent several days essentially crawling under a boat on the river, getting up only at night to kind of stretch out her giant siege golem joints. So you're doing the best you can. And you're covered in cloaks and scavenged armor and all of that, but you're pretty sure, you would all guess, that there is a rumor spreading through the Keening Fields that a boat full of non-orcs are sailing up the river. Oof. And at some point, those chickens will come home to roost. But as for right now, you're covering a lot of land. What you are also doing, since there are, 9 Knights of Prospect plus a Prince of Boar with you, is you're going through supplies. Lots of them. Which means that Ronaldo, Gregory, and Hazel, the 3 of you have disembarked from the boat and are scouting out in the hopes of replenishing your supplies in kind of the Keening Fields in this rolling country. The rest of the knights are back out at the boat cleaning the river of debris so it can continue up. So there was some kind of, you don't know if it was an artificial dam or a natural dam, but it's going to take a couple of days to clear. And so you kind of have a couple of days to scout, hunt, bring back something that you can all eat. All of you, have been kind of out scouting and staying low, and there aren't any villages nearby, which is a good thing. Mm. But the 3 of you realize that you are, you kind of see movement on this weird kind of old road. It looks paved, oddly. And you're following this paved road, and you're following a cart. And as you get closer, you realize it's not a cart, it's a carriage. And the three of you are following a carriage. You don't think it sees you. In fact, there are no guards on it. It's not open-topped or anything. It is, in point of fact, a rather beautiful, carved, white carriage. And at the risk of anachronism, it looks like it's from a fairy tale. You don't know how long you have been following it. In point of fact, you don't think to question it. You don't even talk to each other. You're just all tracing it, occasionally gesturing to each other as though we should go over this hill. Oh, do you think they're going to see us? No, And, you're watching this remarkably beautiful carriage getting imperceptibly closer and closer to it over hours, days, you don't know. Until it stops in the road. And departing it is an elf, a pair of elves, in resplendent armor. One of them is probably some kind of great noble. One of them is probably their servant or seneschal, but you don't know which is which because they are both of impossible age to discern, and their armor looks equally impressive. And the two of them kind of stop and gesture to the hill that you are on right now, but you don't think they're gesturing at you. You all turn around and you see this kind of beautiful twisting tower. It's not huge like Tower Town's tower, which is made by the elves, by the way, but it's like this beautiful watchtower, kind of rung. There's this great big light on it. It has to be magical. Nothing else would glow that bright. It essentially looks like, to use another anachronism, a beautiful lighthouse carved of pure white wood, maybe about 50 feet high. And these two elves gesture to it. And they look at each other and they kind of nod confidently. And you all feel this great sense of calm. Like you are somewhere beautiful and you are surrounded by friends. All of that fades away. You kind of blink it out of your eyes. And you remain in the Keening Fields. And your stomachs rumble.
Huh. Whoa. What was that? Did anyone else see that? I can't be the only one.
I feel weird.
You saw the tower, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
This keeps happening.
Well,
it's that place.
Should we go to where the tower was? I mean, I'm very hungry. We need to at least find a hare or something in here.
What we need is for people to start respecting traditional ration intake.
Listen, it felt like a special occasion. We had just gotten on the boat, and so I gave everyone a quarter of an extra bit of a ration, and I put a little bit of spice on it, and it was like a little treat for everyone.
And now you have the children used to it.
Well, yeah, and now everyone wants the spice. No, I understand.
Everyone thinks I'm the bad guy when I yell at them for eating too much.
Well, you do yell a lot. So, I mean, I feel like I'm just trying to make the best of it. But this is why I'm on this trip, because I have caused a pattern of behavior with which there is no return. So we will find more rations, find more food. We'll dry some meats. Everything will be fine.
And as long as we don't get any cheese, I won't eat any of it. Because I don't have to.
God forbid. Enteresh forbid we find some cheese. But boy, I would love to find some cheese. I wish we could hunt cheese. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, that would be very fun. Cheese hunt.
Cheese hunt.
I want one of you, whichever one of you is feeling lucky, to give me a 2d6 plus wisdom.
Very well. 4.
Can we do another one?
I'm feeling particularly generous. Yes.
I'll give it a shot.
Sure.
10.
Oh, all right.
You don't want a third to see if we split the difference?
No. We'll play with kind of both of the polls here. So.
Oh no.
So, Gregory, the thing you observe is a remarkable amount of nothing. That is to say, it's not like you're kind of scanning the horizon and your eyes can't focus and you can't see. Like, you have incredibly keen eyes for this kind of thing. But what you see is nothing. It's some part, throughout all of the Keening fields, there's a lot of villages. It's fairly densely populated, more so even than parts of the Riverlands, where you could stand in an orcish village here and look and probably see 3 others on the hills surrounding. It's lots of small settlements. They live in kind of small groups in the Keening fields. But here there's nothing. And that leads you to believe that game out here is probably pretty unlikely. The thing is, orcs can eat mostly anything, which, like orcs obviously farm, they've domesticated animals, they have, a robust and thriving kind of farming tradition. But the issue is, no matter where they go, they can find something to eat. This terrible razor sharp grass that like cuts up your legs, they could just eat that and derive nourishment. They're incredibly efficient that way. But the fact is, there doesn't appear to be anything for all of you, which means kind of your focus is shifting from, we are going to hunt, we are going to set snares, to we need to find something of the orcs to eat. And so you're kind of pondering what that means, and do we need to attack a village or something like that? But Hazel, you end up looking towards where that tower was in your vision. It was kind of the next hill over, and you're staring at it, and there's kind of a haze surrounding it, like a low, smoky haze. And, the wind, who will owe you a favor for something, kind of turns, and the haze clears, and there is, in point of fact, a watchtower. Not a beautiful, carved, 50-foot tall, magically enchanted, ancient elven watchtower from the age of Alveolora. It's 30 feet tall, made of wooden pillars, kind of big red tarp over it, and there are a couple of small buildings surrounded it, all of it surrounded by a trench. That's an orcish watchtower. And that is the closest thing you have seen to signs of life here, aside from that tall, razor-sharp grass. So the 3 of you are all kind of at the top of this low rise, staring now at this watchtower.
Well, I bet they have some food, but if it's good, I don't know if that matters at this point.
Doesn't matter to me.
You realize that's a watchtower.
Oh, no, I do. I know that we don't have a...
Orcs will be watching. And when they see us, they will alert other watchtowers.
Is there any way we could, say, make their eye go elsewhere? Like, I'm not quite sure how we would do it, but set a fire in a different location or something that draws their eye, and then we charge them when they're investigating that. Something like that. Right? Draw their eye away from where we are, and then get close to them and just kind of cloak and dagger.
About how far away are we?
Less than a mile.
Less than a mile. How about, in the meantime, while we're approaching, we use some camouflage?
Ooh.
Yeah, sure. What do you have in mind?
I would like to turn into a grass being that's real wide and flat, So that we can camouflage our way over to the watchtower.
Yeah, it's your connection, Hazel. You know this obviously, but for sake of the narration, let's say your connection with the earth has grown, and the elements has grown so strong that in addition to the earth just nourishing you, you can just turn into elemental forms. And this is something that is proving increasingly valuable as you are in this strange place. And yeah, that's exactly what you do. You just kind of turn into a grass being, and you blend in nicely with this razor-sharp grass. So let's roll 2d6 plus wisdom.
2d6 plus wisdom. 9.
Cool. So you can do 3 actions as this grass being. I will tell you the 2 that are easiest for the grass being. These are the things that you don't need to roll for. You can just expend one of your 3 charges. Sneak and heal.
All right, sneak and heal. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna take my big flat grassy self and kind of flop over Ronaldo and Gregory, and so we can kind of scuttle our way up over this hill.
You do. What's funny, Gregory and Ronaldo, is you are covered in a camouflage tarp, but that camouflage tarp is definitely Hazel. Like, it's, you know, it is. It has tiny little horns and is Hazel and can talk to you.
Hey, did you guys see that hole over there? I almost fell in it.
This feels wrong.
Feels very strange.
Gregory, your cape is very tickly.
Rather not know that.
Oh, you must have known. Must tickle you.
Dwarves are not ticklish.
I see you giggle sometimes.
Never giggled in my life.
I've definitely seen you giggle at least once.
When?
You watched someone get brutally murdered once.
It's true.
It was a very
I'd call
strange...
that a smirk, but fair enough.
Okay.
So you all kind of sneak under the watchful eye and camo grassiness of your dear friend and fellow Knight of Prospect, Hazel Pippet. And you kind of approach, and you're not raising any alarm. And it gets to the point where you're close enough now that it's not just, oh, in the distance, there's like a tower and a couple of, like, you're close enough to see the features of this place. You're kind of coming up the hill, and it's surrounded by a trench, like a defensive trench, because instead of walls, they built a trench.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 outbuildings are these kind of low, squat wooden structures. They're almost like wooden yurts. And then this tower in the middle. Ronaldo, I think it's your turn to do a little observing here. Why don't you roll 2d6 plus wisdom to discern realities?
Ooh. 10 plus wisdom.
Oh, well, I'll be darned.
Still 10.
So you can ask 3 questions from the discern realities list.
Awesome. Where here is not what it appears to be?
Well, that's a pretty big one.
Yeah. It's usually why I ask that one.
Yeah. This watchtower appears to be in good order, but is abandoned. Or I shouldn't say abandoned. The things that are here are not alive.
What is about to happen?
Well, should you enter it, you will discover the aftermath of something that happened here that was pretty grim.
What should I be out? What should I be on the lookout for?
things of value and things very, very rare in these parts.
Interesting. Okay. Everyone, I feel like as good as your camouflage is, I feel like getting here has been a little too easy, and I feel as though there's been no activity in there. Either there's something inside there that shouldn't be, that doesn't actually use this as a watchtower, or something terrible has happened, or a mixture of both. Because this does not feel correct.
You raise a good point.
Seems quiet.
Orcs are many things, but quiet is not one of them.
We would have been on edge a little bit. This was too easy. And not that I don't think we could get this far, but I feel like we would have heard some howls and some something.
There's no fire.
There's nothing.
A watchtower would have a lit fire at all times.
Or a raucous game of stickball.
Orcs do love
It
stickball.
may occasionally have a raucous game of stickball.
It's fun.
Do you want me to sneak up to the opening, I guess, over this little ditch to see what I can discern while you stay here safely? I feel like I could sneak up there a little bit quietly.
Sure, I'll scuttle as close as I can get.
Okay.
Yeah, Ronaldo, you don't even need to roll for anything. You kind of get into the trench and scramble up the other side. And you're just kind of in the camp, such as it is. It's all the grass has been cleared from this. So it's really just kind of like the bald top of a hill with these two little buildings and this watchtower. As nobody here, except for those two dead orcs.
No.
There are, well, let's, you kind of gesture for, at this point, everyone else to follow. Like, what's very clear to you is that these two orcs killed each other.
Yeah,
Like-
this was not a assassination attempt. They weren't fighting something else. They were fighting each other.
Yeah.
Huh.
And you're pretty sure you know what they were fighting over. On the ground, swaddled near the embers of a fire that have long cooled off, is this little kind of package. And, you all kind of surround it and you kind of tease open like the rough cloth that it was bound in. And it's an egg.
This was in the fire. That's odd. I examine it a little bit and show Hazel, assuming that Hazel would know more about some sort of creature like this.
Do I recognize the egg?
2d6 plus wisdom, please.
Mm, 10.
Yep. This is a dragon egg.
But oh,
And is it still active?
that's hard to
Is
know.
something still growing in there?
You kind of place your hand on, and this is something that you, with your connection to animals, connection to earth, you can tell. And with a 10, I will say this. Yes.
All right. I kind of wrap it up in my grassiness to kind of warm it back up and heal it as much as I can.
You do. You kind of bathe it in kind of nourishing energies of the earth, and if the fire in it was low, it is now stoked again.
Well, it looks like the orcs around here were driven to greed and just killed each other, or at least these two did. We probably should ransack this place, see what we can find, but this is an interesting find for sure. I don't know if I want to eat dragon omelet, though, for rations, if I'm being honest. I am quite hungry, but not that hungry.
Walk in from outside. What's taking so long?
We have a baby.
We found a dragon egg. A dragon.
I'm a mama.
You found a...
I kind of shaped my grassy self into a nest.
Look at it.
Yeah, it's like just this, like a perfect bird's nest. And just this egg is kind of resting in it. It's not just like a white egg or a yellowish egg. It is this kind of rich crimson color, and it feels heavy and it looks heavy. It looks like, I mean, frankly, it looks like a boulder the size of a watermelon that is perfectly smooth and marbled.
Wow.
Wonderful, another mouth to feed.
Well, Gregory, let's just ransack this watchtower. It looks like it's completely unguarded. It might have something in it, but especially if these orcs killed each other. I don't think this place was looted.
Let's move.
Yeah, you know, with military precision, you go through a really kind of deliberate and active sacking of the place. Let's have Gregory, you roll for it here. This sounds to me to be, I will 2d6 plus wisdom if you don't want to make a mess, 2d6 plus strength if you don't care.
Well, let's go strength then.
There you go.
9.
All right. With a partial success, I am going to reference a very interesting list that I have. First and foremost, you find provisions here.
Excellent.
Lot of what looks like kind of bog-cured meats that they kind of... It's somewhere you see and end up trying a bit of something that looks halfway between beef jerky and a 30-pound slab of Novalox salmon. You don't know what animal it's from, but it will sustain you. And you have like 5 slabs of the stuff.
Dried, smoked animal of undeterminate origin.
Yeah. And
that's not to guess.
And you have potted, and there's these big kind of pots of kind of stewed and preserved. It's essentially a kimchi, to use yet another anachronism.
Ooh.
It's just kind of this big, like, vinegary mess of fragrant and tasty vegetables. So you...
Spiced cabbage slaw. Here we are.
Yeah. So, and there's you're able to essentially fashion a sled. And so you can kind of load all this stuff up onto a sled and kind of drag it overland back to the boat. However, the weirdest thing you find, and it's in one of the 2 yurts, is a hole.
Huh. I was going to look to see, Gregory, if there was something else that drove these orcs mad. I mean, orcs are greedy, but killing each other feels very uncommon. It feels almost...
More common than you'd think.
Oh, right, but over a dragon's egg, I feel like they would have cracked it in the time being, right? They're not careful beings.
I'll be honest with you, I've never seen a dragon's egg.
Well, me neither.
Are they hard?
I can't tell you because I've never seen a dragon's egg, but I feel like, I don't know, something about this doesn't seem right. I want to check in that hole. And Ronaldo starts like tying a rope around himself and like giving it to Gregory.
We have a sledge full of provisions and a dragon's egg. Why are you not satisfied?
I feel like there's something else here that we're missing.
Very well.
Ronaldo, you rappel down, and as you rappel down, the sense you get is that this hole looks fairly recent. That is to say, like, it looks like it was recently dug. You can still see bits of like plant root sticking out of the sides, so it's not like this is some old cave.
Yeah.
It looks like someone just kind of started digging and didn't stop.
Interesting.
I
take out the flaming rapier and like use it for like a little bit of light, and also in case anything jumps out and attacks me.
Yeah.
Keep that away from the rope.
It's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
You land after, you go down about 20 feet.
Oof.
And land on an honest to goodness. You're in essentially a cave.
Uh-huh.
But it's a cave where the base is an honest to goodness paved road.
There's a road down here.
Shut up.
No, I swear. Gregory. I know I love playing pranks on you and lying to you because it is very fun and you're very gullible. But this time, I swear,
I will drop this rope, Bard.
Well, then you'll have to come get me some other way. Drop the rope, and then because then Hazel will definitely bully you to come rescue me. Hazel, there's a road down here.
What? Someone said hole?
There's a hole and a road.
A hole with a road? Is this a Gregory prank?
No, it's not. It does seem like one, though.
It does. Oh, that sounds fun.
I would tell you if it was a Gregory prank. I wouldn't tell Gregory if it was a Gregory prank.
I'm standing right here.
Well, at least now you know our system.
I fashioned myself into sort of a grass stroller carrying the egg.
Mm-hmm. Yep, one of those nice kind of collapsible ones, really cool, very modern. Yeah, and so you are able to kind of make your way down as well. The rope is eventually tied off, and yeah, Hazel, you see what Ronaldo sees. You are, by the light of his flaming sword, you are in a cave. It kind of stretches, not like some big, huge underground open. Like it's a kind of a fairly low cave, but it's over a road. It's paved road. In point of fact, like beautifully laid square stones in a very nice pattern, kind of stretching into the darkness.
I mean, Gregory, Gregory is down with us now, correct?
Do you finally rappel down? Yeah. Okay. So, Gregory, this is not dwarven, not of any era, but the craftsmanship is exceptional.
Well, this could be some sort of lost ancient dwarven. Could be elvish, but definitely not orcish.
Yeah,
well.
The orcs are very pragmatic with their architecture. There is beauty to this.
Should we follow it, or is that just, trying, tempting fate too hard?
What we should do is get these provisions back to the party.
But Gregory, a really nice road. Underground.
It is well crafted.
Underground. It is. Someone did something to that watchtower. Maybe they have more. Maybe they don't. Maybe this is a trap, but we'll never know if we don't ask the question.
Very well. On your guard, we'll move a few dozen feet.
Okay. We'll leave the rope dangling, obviously, because we can't untie it from here.
You move ahead through the darkness, the light of the rapier, and if you want to, you may have fashioned a torch as well. And you kind of walk through, and the reason you think that you're in a cave, the reason why this isn't just Earth is because at regular intervals, maybe every 10 feet, there's this very beautiful, you don't know if it's stone or not, because it looks like a solid piece, an arch. And the kind of the instead of like cribbing, like you're in a mine, it looks like the dirt and soil and rock is held back by just a root system.
Huh.
And you keep walking forward in this strange, at this point we can call it a tunnel. And you get to a big, it doesn't kind of block you, well, I'll put it to you this way. The road ends at a massive debris field. So it's like a cave-in, but it's not a cave-in of rocks. It's a cave-in of what looks like ancient masonry, covered in like kind of algae and moss, and when you scrape some away, it is of beautiful pure white.
I mean, we all saw the vision of the lighthouse. Is this not similar? And Ronaldo picks up a big chunk of it as sort of proof.
That's what I saw.
Yeah. Well over 1,000 years ago, there was a lighthouse here. And this is it now.
So then what dug the hole? That was a recent hole. Ronaldo kind of points his rapier outward, expecting a trap.
No trap, Hazel.
Talk to the stone. See if it can tell me anything.
Yeah. Okay. You can definitely do it, but we're going to have to... I'm going to have you roll 2d6 plus Constitution. Because this isn't just talking to a stone, this is talking to a ghost.
We're rolling hot tonight. 10.
A few things, Hazel, become apparent to you very, very immediately. This stone is, or for centuries, but not anymore, carrying heavy enchantment. You're pretty sure it was shaped with magic. No hammer and chisel ever struck this stone. The elven craftspeople that shaped the tower that has fallen to ruin under here did it with magic, which means that the memories of the stone are somehow more complete. Talking to this stone and hearing it is not like speaking to the earth. It almost speaks in a different dialect completely, something older, as if you've woken it up from slumber. But it kind of stirs. And you push away a feeling of fear, like you are walking around somewhere you shouldn't be. And this rumbling kind of fades into an anticipatory silence.
Hey, friend. Seems like you've been through something. Can you tell me how you fell?
Those that shaped me died or left. They were here and then they were not.
Who were they?
Like you, alive, walking, hearts and hands.
Has anyone been here recently?
The first visitor since I fell. Like
Who were-
he was, well, larger, angry.
Large, just one person?
2.
Two. What they look like?
Asking a stone what 2 orcs look like is like asking 2 orcs what a stone looks like. But this stone is game and doing its best. And you know, it's large, their feet vibrated the ground more, like it paints a picture of 2 large orcs that seem to be in a hurry. They apparently scraped and clawed their way through earth into this tunnel, approached this ruin that you are talking to, argued for a while, and then continued tunneling around it. And you see now there's like debris that you move, and there is in fact more tunnel. It's almost like a crawl way.
Do you know what they were trying to get to?
It pauses for a moment. It asks for magic. I can show you, I think. I need magic.
My buddy can sing you a song.
Would a magic song help? What? Wait, I'm sorry. What is happening?
He wants magic.
You want me to sing to a stone?
Would that help if my bard buddy here sang to you?
I believe it would.
He believes it would.
Well,
He's been through a hard time. Just sing him something cute.
something cute. Oh boy. Ronaldo, he kind of waves his hands over the flaming rapier to kind of like kick up some of the flame, just as he begins sort of singing this song, like directing some of this magic at him. And he he has no context about what he's supposed to sing this stone. So he just starts going, here there was history, but now there's no more. Where are the stones that we've been looking for? Here there's no history that we cannot see, but we wish to be with thee.
That
The
was
flame sort of
beautiful.
explodes.
Yeah, you kind of open yourself and kind of let this bardic magic out.
Singing at a stone. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
He liked it. He liked it.
Oh, well, that's good.
the stone did. And all 3 of you are blessed with a vision again.
All right.
The 2 orcs are alive and arguing. You can understand them, you think. Like, that is to say, you're listening to them argue in the orcish tongue that they are using. And you know they are speaking in an orcish tongue, and none of you understand the orcish tongue, but you can understand what they're saying. They are just above, on the surface in this watchtower, arguing about a vision. It was here. It was a large white tower, not our tower, a large white one. How can you climb it? But I saw it too, but that cannot mean it is real. That means we have both been driven mad. And they start arguing about sanity. And then they say it must be below, and they begin feverishly digging with their hands and tools, you know, burrowing like gophers, giant gophers that are obsessed with digging. and kind of they dig and they move earth, and it's for like a day or two, and they don't eat. And eventually they drop down into this cave, just where you are before. And they walk up to this stone, this ruin. They argue again very loudly about this is true and what does this mean and have we gone mad, and that's impossible because the stone is here. And then they say there must be something under here. Why wouldn't it be? And they proceed to, with hands and hand tools, dig another small tunnel off. And then time passes. And the two of them emerge from this tunnel, this egg. And they don't stay for long, but you can hear them as they kind of walk away. Whatever this is worth a fortune. Yes, a fortune. A fortune to the two of us. This is an egg, yeah? Yes, an egg. And if we take it to the commander will tell us what to do. And then they start kind of arguing about who to take it to, and they bring up the name. They bring up the name Makuz the Beautiful. That they're going to give it to him as a gift. And they know it needs to be kept warm for some reason. And then kind of time passes again. And the two of them get into an argument about which one of them found it. And, well, it doesn't matter who found it. I'm the one that's keeping it warm. And it doesn't matter if you're keeping it warm. I'm the one that found it. And, it's, one of them says, I am its mother until we give this to Makuz, and I will get the glory. And eventually they start screaming at each other, and then they pull axes.
Huh.
And you witness as much as you care to of these two orcs hacking themselves to death.
Well, thank you, Stones, for that lovely vision. Can you ask the stone, I don't know if that's how that works, where is this egg from? How did it survive down here for so long?
Hey, Stone, I got this sweet little egg baby. Do you know where it came from and how it survived?
There is something large that those orcs dug to. Something large and something warm.
Large and warm. Is it something living?
Yes. It moves, though less lately.
Like it's sleeping?
Maybe, yes.
Well, what did it say?
It came from something sleeping.
Oh no.
A dragon, perhaps?
Maybe.
Well, maybe we should then just get out of here before Mama wakes up. Am I right? Unless we want to go see what else Mama has. I don't know. That feels like greedy and dangerous. But I want to know.
We need to go now.
Okay. I think Gregory is right.
Okay, let's have a real big important roll. Whichever one of you is feeling lucky, give me a 2d6 plus dexterity roll.
I'll roll it. Feeling lucky. Well, not that lucky. 6. Boy, I wish there were some pluses in that roll.
Yeah.
You know, when you feel lucky, you're not lucky. That's what my father always told me, and my mother. A lot of people told me this.
We're not the most dexterous bunch here.
I'm fine.
You start kind of turning and moving and running quickly along this road back to the rope. And it's like, we have to go now. And there's the rumbling and the stone and all of that. And you hear a chittering.
That doesn't sound like a dragon at all.
Do I recognize the chittering?
Yeah, you think so. They're in marshes and caves, anywhere where there's an underground source of water. They're called Chul.
That doesn't sound great.
You like the chittering, you don't know where it's coming from. It's kind of echoing. And you don't know where the water is coming from, but there's now kind of a sloshing at your feet. As if water's kind of seeping out from the walls around you. And yeah, with the torch and the burning sword, you see it. There's water kind of seeping. And then there's just more of this chittering, and then the chittering stops.
All right, up the rope we go.
And the second you grab the rope, the entire side of the cave wall bursts in. And light in here is weird, and it's dark, and it's dust, and it's filthy, and all of a sudden it starts smelling like salt water and dirt and muck. All you see are claws. Big, brown, blood-soaked claws. Two things dawn on you right now. Whatever this thing is larger than all of you, and the other is that blood is fresh. It's not from orcs from a week ago. It's dripping fresh blood. And you got a 6. There are 2 of them.
Great.
Is this a chul?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh boy, that's the biggest chuls I've ever seen.
It's nutrient-rich land, and it's underground, and there's got to be a water source down here, some underground spring. It all makes sense. Yeah, these things are halfway between a crab and a lobster, but they are the size of a horse.
Great.
Well,
you're holding onto the rope, Ronaldo, but one of them kind of bowls into you and slams you against the other wall.
Oh, right.
And yeah, now there's just bedlam in here. All right, who wants to go first?
Oh.
well, if they love water, they hate fire. So I'm gonna call on my element friends and say, "Hey, fire, could you fling yourselves and maybe make this water boil a little bit at those fellas?"
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna have you roll 2d6 plus wisdom. That roll will equate to damage.
Okay. 2d6 plus wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I jinxed myself. 5.
Gotcha. Well, now we can all do some math in our head. One of these chul takes 1 damage. They've got thick, chitinous shells. That's why if you're eating one of these things, you need giant claw crackers. You start kind of like the fire leaps from the torch, it leaps from Ronaldo's sword. The water starts steaming and popping. One of the chuls kind of skitters back. Now, I mean, both of them are in here and like lashing at the walls and striking at you. Both of them are bloodied up. with fresh blood. Who's going next?
I would like to use my ability to understand how something fights, Manual of Movement, to understand a little bit more about these creatures' movements, and also, like, whose blood is that? And, like, I'm sure it's not their own blood, but are they also incredibly injured? Because that's a lot of blood.
2d6 plus wisdom.
4. I don't know, man.
Well, you will get information. It's not good information.
Great.
The armor on this thing, this thick, heavy, exoskeleton, is just flatly hard to punch through. Stabbing it would be hard. Crushing it would be hard. So that, so the thing you learn is any attack that involves you using a weapon and hitting it would not get past that armor.
Great.
That's one thing. The other thing, it's pretty safe to say, I'll give you this one for free. That's definitely not their blood. They are healthy and, dare I say, well nourished.
Well, great.
Okay.
I don't think you can punch through these things, so be careful.
Well, I've dealt with sparred with plate armor before. You don't go through the plate, you go under it. So I'll try to strike the closest one, get my hand in between the plates, and find something soft.
Gotcha. Here's what I'll let you do. I will let you use bend bars, lift gates on this.
Whoa!
You're not trying to punch through it. You're trying to pry it off.
Trying to open it. Yes.
Yeah. 2d6 plus strength.
All right. 6.
All right. So here's how I'll do this for you. For these things have an armor rating of 4. For every 2 hit points of damage you take, you can reduce one of the Chul's armor by 1 point.
Very good. Am I rolling for damage on this?
No, this is just you prying armor off of this thing. And it's just chewing on you. So if you want to take 8 damage, one of these things is totally unarmored.
I get to pick.
Yes, you do.
I'll take the 8.
So you run up and kind of jump into this thing's weird, tiny, gross mouth. And you're kind of wrapping it, and you're just trying to find where, in this, articulated exoskeleton, can you actually get one of your cestus? And you just kind of find right behind its head, just to the top of a plate, you just start tearing, and it's this horrible cracking, crunching, nauseating noise. And you end up kind of half shucking the lobster. This thing is lashing at you. It kind of crunches through some of your leg armor, so that's going to need to be reforged. And there's blood pooling all around it, and it's a lot. But you end up, Hazel and Ronaldo see that one of these things, the whole top half of it has kind of been ripped halfway open like a half-peeled banana. And there is just a lot of stuff to stab now. Hazel, you're up next, I think.
All right, I'm gonna try to fry it a little bit again.
All right, sounds good. Let's have you roll your 2d6 plus wisdom again, it translating directly into damage.
That's better. 12.
Oh my goodness. Now this is teamwork. So yeah, Gregory kind of pries this thing open, and it's now flailing, and it's like splashing around, like the water is like pouring in, kind of thick streams from the hole it burst through. And you kind of like reach to the ground, and fire follows you, and it starts heating up the stone and boiling the water. It's remarkable what happens when not fire, but elemental concept of fire wants to heat something, because it heats up. And you will kind of back up, and this place starts steaming. And one of the two Chul is screaming and hissing and howling and popping. And this isn't just like 1 second. This is all of you like moving and throwing each other out of the way and dodging the other Chul, who retreats back into the hole and then is like clearly like chittering its way through another, while the first Chul starts cooking. And this is something that will haunt your dreams later. It starts to smell pretty good in this cave.
Ugh.
And you don't like that. You don't like admitting that.
Lobster.
Yeah. Like, Ronaldo, like, you've had so much lobster in your life, and like this smells like a good lobster dinner. And the Chul starts heating up and screaming and twitching, and one of its claws like spasms so quick it snaps, and one of these things, like wild and twisting, ends up kind of slumping over dead, just as the second one bursts through a fresh hole in the wall.
I pull out my flaming rapier. Well, I still have my flaming rapier out, and I try and this sort of fiery elemental that's been, pulled from my sword a little bit. I pull out the piece of lighthouse that I had pocketed, and I try to focus on it while I try to focus on the fire magic to try and tempt the mind of this Chul to kind of overcome it, either to confuse it or, make it do what I want. So I'm using Moth to the Flame.
So, Moth to the Flame. That'll do it. 2d6 plus Wisdom.
Do I get any bonus from using the piece of ancient elvish?
Yeah, I will give you a +1. This thing is sentient and wants to help you.
Ooh, perfect, because I would have rolled a 6, so it's a 7.
Fair enough. This thing becomes agitated. This thing becomes confused. Like, you're trying to think, it's like, okay, all right, look at this, fire, and look at this. Mm-hmm. And this thing is kind of chittering and moving, and it smells its cooked companion, and you're starting to think it's breaking through. You're trying to hypnotize it, but it keeps spinning around and unsure. So the way this is going to work is Gregory's next action and Hazel's next action, they each get a +1 to it.
Heck yeah.
Gregory, you're up.
All right, let's Ben Chiton lift Carapace.
There you go. 2d6 plus strength.
And the +1?
Mm-hmm.
Smash, 13.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, the good news is you take no damage at all from doing this. It's not technically smash, it's Ben Bar's lift gates, but because you rolled a 13 anyway, I'm still going to give you smash because I love what happens when you do that. So the thing it definitely loses is you more or less rip its tail off. Like, so the whole thing kind of splays open. And it's just grotesque and horrible. But what is something that it loses?
Its claws.
You end up kind of like rearing back and snapping the claws off. And now this thing is really just like a body and an unarmored tail, and this is nightmare stuff. Like, you're in like a cave that's slowly filling with water, and you're fighting giant half-shucked lobsters. One of them is cooked, and the other one is screaming. But yes, this thing no longer has claws. Hazel, you're up.
Let's go for a twin lobster boil.
Oh my goodness! All right, 2d6 plus wisdom translates directly into damage.
Oh no. 4
plus 1.
Okay, so it does end up it does end up taking 4 damage. You also it's not gonna. What can it do aside from crush things with its claws? Yep, it's not going to do that. It is going to spit some kind of ink at you.
Rude.
And yeah, it's super rude and gross. You take 2 damage because it's oddly hot, and you don't like that. And like it's blind, like it's squidding essentially. And you end up kind of slamming into a wall and hurting yourself. But yeah, you've taken 2 damage, and the next action you take in this combat, if it gets back to you, you're going to be at a -1.
Okay.
Ronaldo, you're up.
Ronaldo's hoping it doesn't come to that because he takes his fiery rapier and he tries to stick it into the most unarmored orifice he can find.
Sounds pretty good. 2d6 plus strength, 2 hack and slash.
Plus 6?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2d6 plus strength, not 6. That'd be amazing.
I would love that. Anyways, 10.
Oh my goodness. All right, do your damage.
Sure. To do 1. Very precise. But the flaming rapier does set things on fire when I have a perfect
Yes. And well, you know what? We're gonna go ahead. This thing is unarmored. It's missing its claws, and Ronaldo just stabbed it with a burning sword. We'll narrate our way through the rest of this. You end up Ronaldo stabbing it, and it kind of rears back. You know, Gregory ends up like throwing a shoulder into it, slamming it into the wall, like ripping its legs off. You know, Hazel, who is now at this point like surrounded by like a cloud of fire that really likes Hazel, just kind of dives in and boils it the rest of the way. And then it's just like this moment of like,
I'm gonna make a weird suggestion. Do we take this back for rations?
I mean, everybody does have to eat.
Do you think this is what the unknowable dried meat was?
I reach my hand into some of the cooked flesh and take a big mouthful.
how good it is entirely up to you. You will shape the narrative of how delicious.
It's one of the best things I've ever tasted.
It's so good.
And the fact that it harmed me grievously to get to this point makes it taste even better.
Yep, that's how it goes.
And I just lay fists into...
Yep.
Ronaldo starts carving up parts of the other one.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is
the guts.
Yep. Like this thing is now like parboiled, and you're pretty sure you can preserve this. It's delicious.
It's both disgusting because I'm carving up a creature, but delicious because it smells incredible.
Oh my God.
And the more I peel flesh off, the more I'm like, was this full of butter? I'm pretty sure this was full of butter.
It's naturally sweet. It's unctuous. Yeah, so you begin kind of stripping it down.
I look around to make sure no one's looking, and then I kind of like lick it.
I mean, it's really
like,
good.
No, I can't.
I mean, you get why people who need to eat would like this, but
get it.
Something about this, let the people that want it have it.
I just covered my egg baby's pretend eyes.
They don't want to see this. And actually, in that moment, Hazel, you're kind of turning away, and the hole that those two orcs dug and those two holes that the chules kind of smashed through are all on one side of this tunnel, and it's kind of punched through like this rocky, wet, gloopy soil. Now, obviously, those tunnels should lead to absolute darkness because there should not be any light down here. You're in an ancient tunnel. And not only are you in an ancient tunnel, there are holes that lead to nowhere. But there is light.
At the end of the tunnel?
At the end of the tunnel.
The other side of the tunnel?
Yeah, like one of the tunnels that the Chules chewed through, there is light coming out of it. Faint, but there. And you think it's in your mind, you think it's a reflection from Gregory's sword or the torch or that floating elemental fire that you harnessed. No, there is a light source emanating from this weird, rocky lobster burrow.
Hey, fellas, there's a light.
Ronaldo takes a big piece of lobster jewel out of his mouth. Should we check? I feel like we've Gregory looks pretty rough right now, and
What's going on?
there's a big bright light out in the tunnel. That's not right.
Why?
Well, a lighthouse fell. We saw a big bright light on top of the lighthouse.
Also, those Chul were covered in fresh blood. They came from somewhere.
Either something died or something is bright, or a mix of both. Probably that. And Ronaldo kind of puts down the Chul that he's been like carving up. Some of it he has like wrapped in like, fabric that he has to try and preserve it as like a ration, and he starts kind of heading through the tunnel.
Fine.
All right, I go, come on, fire, and follow them. My little fire buddies.
What you are about to see, you will look back a long time from now as one of the most unexpected, beautiful, and crushingly sad things you've ever seen. Huddled around in this massive stalactite-filled dome of a cave, huddled around an ancient, glowing elven light, the size of a small house, is a dying dragon. It does its best to lift its head and turn it to you.
I go over to its head and kind of hold it.
It's you are, there could be 10 of you holding its head. That's how big it is. But it looks at you. It is big, it's breathing, its one eye is trying to focus on you.
Ronaldo takes out his golden mandolin, his stolen mandolin, and starts playing it to try and heal this creature back to health as best he can, if he can, and just starts playing it through as the tones of this golden, completely unwieldy mandolin just sort of echo in this giant space.
2d6 plus charisma, and Ronaldo, I wish you all the luck in this world.
I try to help by placing the egg in the dragon's arms, legs near it.
And add a +1 to this on top of your charisma, Ronaldo.
Oh my god. 13.
Come on, Mama.
What Ronaldo sings is... Ronaldo, this is the most complicated song you know of all of them. And you don't play it much because it is not only hard, but emotionally and physically draining for you to play. A great epic of loss and redemption, a sweeping, almost impossible story that stretches from Alveolora to Tower Town. A beautiful song of impossible coincidence and stirring hope and a promise of a brighter future. When you are done, Ronaldo, you fall into silence. And Hazel, you're kind of holding the side of this enormous dragon. And Gregory, you're watching all of this, and you're the first one to see her eyes open. The eyes that open are the eyes of Beleriad, the crimson dragon of the Keening Fields.
Ooh.
In that moment, you three are given a great gift. You hear Beleriad's voice, a great chorus of voices, thanking you in every language. It puts a mark on all of your minds. Any one of you, in a moment of need, can call on Beleriad, and she will appear. We will end it right there.
What? My God.
Shut up, you're crying.
I honestly think I rolled 2 6s, and also I think because of Ronaldo's other boon, Help the Helpless, I think it technically was a 14.
Yeah, and that's why the literal power of fate will put Beleriad
oh my God.
will put Beleriad into your aid when needed. So each of you, I'll put the name in our private chat here. But yeah, you can just type in the gift of Beleriad, and I will know what you mean.
The gift of Beleriad.
Speaking of gifts, audience, whether you are watching us live on twitch.tv/2MB Studios or listening to us or watching us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts after the fact, thank you for joining us. You are the greatest gift of all, as ancient and powerful as Beleriad the Crimson Dragon. And yeah, we are here every darn Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/2MB Studios.
Wow.
If you like watching comedy or sometimes epic adventure on Twitch, well, good news. 2MB Studios is the channel for you. Like, subscribe, follow, do coffee, do Patreon. It's a great channel with amazing shows throughout the week. Soon coming up, the return of Quarantine Action Wrestling, speaking of epic things that may sometimes make you cry. And but there's great stuff all the time. There's talk shows, there's game shows, there's comedy shows, there's everything in between. We will see you all next time. Happy adventuring. And if you see a dragon, do it a favor. Good night.